Hey y'all, happy Sunday and welcome to this week's live Q&A session. This is the portion of the show where we allow YouTube to send out notifications that we're going live. If you're watching this live Q&A on replay, please scrub ahead until this graphic disappears and the actual show begins. If you're watching live and you have any comments or questions, please go ahead and put them in the live chat. But for now, grab a beverage, sit back, and relax while the countdown timer does its thing. Then we'll get started. Aloha and happy Sunday, everybody. Thank you for spending part of your Sunday with me here in Chaos Central, as you can see behind me. It's a royal mess, but this too shall pass. Hey, wanted to acknowledge and say howdy to everybody back east from me. Had a little discussion on what qualifies as back east. I consider anything east of the Rockies to be back east. I don't consider the Mississippi River to be that much of a border. But my sympathies to everybody going through this extremely cold and abrasive weather. Just remember, this too shall pass. Breathe in, breathe out, huddle up, keep warm, and, you know, we'll get through this. We'll get through this. Now, today, I have a short topic to discuss. I don't have a whole heck of a lot of information on it, but we'll get into it. And this was a question from our members only WhatsApp group. If you're a channel member and you're not a part of the WhatsApp group, email me and we'll make it happen. We have a lot of fun in it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll talk more about channel membership at the end of today's live stream. But before we get into anything at all, I want to say hello and hope you're doing well to my friend Steve over at Harneal Media. Now, I've been singing Steve's praises since the beginning. And there's a simple reason for that. And that is because he's dynamite at what he does. And some of you subscribers and channel members have taken advantage of Steve's services, and you can back up what I'm saying. If you are even toying with the idea of a website, or maybe you already have one and you are looking for a different host, somebody that will take care of your needs and not their own, or treat you like just another number or another account in the roster, then you owe it to yourself to check out Steve over at Harneal Media. Again, he's very good at what he does. He's very competitively priced, and after a while you wonder how he does everything he does so cheaply. It is 100% personalized service, and to me that is the driving factor in this. When you're dealing with Harneal Media, you're dealing with Steve, and that's it. There's no middleman. There's no call center somewhere. There's just Steve. He's focused, he's professional, he's very personable, and he will take care of you. He will handle as much or as little as you want him to do. If you are a seasoned veteran and you know what you're doing with the website, he's got you covered. He'll handle the back end and let you take care of everything else. If you're like me and need a lot of hand holding, he's got you covered as well. If you're looking to set up a web store where you can offer your products or services to the public at large, he's got you covered. He can set that up. If you're looking for a print-on-demand company, maybe you want to design and sell your own merch, baseball caps, T-shirts, mouse pads, coffee cups, things of that nature, he can hook you up. He's got you covered. So do yourself a favor. You owe it to yourself to at least go over to harnealmedia.com, click that contact us link, and shoot Steve a message. Let him know what you want. Let him know what you're looking for. And he'll work with you. Again, 100% personalized service. So there's a link to Harneal Media down in the description of this live stream and every video and live stream on this channel. And it's that way for a reason. harnealmedia.com, sponsor of Mark Lindsay CNC.com. And thank you, Steve, for everything you do for me. You don't know what it means. Thank you. Okay, let us get into what I wanted to talk about today. Again, this comes from the I'm looking at the comments here. Steve also accepts
chocolate. Steve has the metabolism of a hummingbird. I think he's on a constant sugar high. Is that's the only way he can do everything he does. So, sorry, you don't know how close to home this hits. He's got a candy store behind him in his office. I kid you not. Anyway, he's also good people. That's just all there is to it. Oh man, that hit me harder than I thought it would. Anyhow, like I said, my topic for today is a short one, but maybe it'll inspire some questions and some conversation. And again, this came from a channel member on our members only WhatsApp group. And he was asking about how, when doing a pocket, you sometimes end up with little trails when you're trying to create something like a rabbit or a slot that needs to go all the way through a piece of material. Why you sometimes get this little ridge of material. And let me bring up VCarve Pro. Yeah, I'm in VCarve Pro, and try to show you what I'm talking about. And what I have here is a simple piece of material. You can't really see what's going on out here on the outside, but let me select, and you see I've got a vector out here that is the same dimensions as my material. Then I've got another vector right here, which is the limits of the pocket. What I want to do is I want to machine this area away all the way around the piece. It's, let's say, an inset panel that I'm using my hands like you can see me here. Let me do that. There we go. It's an inset panel that's going to fit into something else, but have a border around, an overlap. So let's go back to a spotlight on this. So here's what we're going to do. I've got, like I say, I've got that vector there. And I've got this vector here. So I'll select them both. And I want to pocket this whole area out. Now I'm going to cut a 1/4 inch deep. And I'm going to use a 1/4 inch end mill. And in this case, the direction really doesn't matter. I'm going to use offset just simply because I want it to go all the way around the material. And we'll go ahead and we'll calculate that pocket. I'm not going to get into the minutia of a pocket. And there we see what the toolpath is going to cut. And now we'll preview the selected toolpath. Okay, now it's finished. Now, the first thing we see is it has left these little corners up here. And that is simply because we have to take into account the radius of the bit. It's going to come in. Let's turn on the vector. It can't get into this corner. And this vector is the limit. So it's going to come up here as close to that corner as it can, then it's going to come around and go inside. This is the limit of the radius of that bit. It can't get in there any closer. So that's all well and good, but if we look down here, and I'll turn the vectors off so we can see, we have this ridge of material here. If we look a little closer, we also have this ridge of material here. Now this is common. And he was asking, why does it do this? What's the reason for this? Because we don't have the ridge over here on this side, and we don't have the ridge up here at the top. We just have it on this side and down at the bottom. Now, I have asked about this in several places, and I get 2 or 3 different answers. So I don't have a definitive answer on why this happens. I've heard that it has to do with the radius of the bit. The radius of the bit explains the corners being left behind, but it doesn't explain why we have this ridge of material left behind down here and over here, but not up here and over here. I've also heard that it has to do with the way the toolpath is calculated, that it's calculated by using the center of the bit and calculating the center of the bit and where this vector here is. Now, if we zoom in straight from the top, we can see this vector kind of hangs over this edge a little bit. It's beyond the edge. Same thing up here, but it's right on the edge down here and right on the edge over there. Now, to me, that doesn't make sense. So it doesn't explain everything. Now, Wenro Products says rounding errors. That's possible. But it doesn't explain the inconsistency. That's my question about the whole thing. Let me close this and we'll jump back over into the 2D view, jump back over to the design tab here. And I'm just going to select this outside vector because that's the problem. And I'm going to, again, align it to the center to make sure that it is centered. So I have aligned it to the center. I'm going to jump back over here. I'm going to recalculate that pocket. And we're going to see, reset the preview, and we'll see if that made any difference. And it did not. So obviously, that vector is centered. So what's my point in all this? My point in all of this is if you're going to create a pocket, for, like in this case, to create this rabbit, and the same holds true. Let me jump up here, close this to get out of the preview, jump back into the 2D view. The same is true if you're, let's say, creating a dado here for some reason. And we will make the width 0.5. Apply. I want a 1/2 inch dado across here. Now, foreshadowing. You see here that this rectangle goes way beyond the material. Does that for a reason. That is, I want that bit to go past this edge and carve this away. I want it to go past this edge and carve all the way through this, not leaving that ridge of material. Now, I can change this. Let's, I'm in move and transform mode. Let me go ahead and bring that up and line it up right there. So it's going to end right on that dado. No, or right on that edge, rather. And I've got it selected. Let's pocket this down. Let's go 3/8 of an inch, so 0.375. And we'll calculate that. And we'll preview it. And we see it does the same thing. Now, I expected that radius, but it left that ridge there again. But if I look up at the top, that ridge is gone. And there's no ridge here. And that's simply because I made that rectangle larger than the desired cut. So, I cannot explain why it does this. But it's been this way. I was taught to do this from the very beginning. If you're dealing with an example like this where the let me go back over to the design tab here, where you have like a ridge of material being left behind, and you have those radius corners that are not being machined away. The cure for it, basically, is to, okay, John Thompson says, maybe it's not putting the vector actually on the outer edge of all four sides. Yes, and that's what I was talking about earlier. I don't understand why it's doing it. I've been told two different theories, but nothing definitive. So the only thing I can say is we need to make this outer vector larger than the desired cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into, I've got the rectangle selected. I'm going to go back into create rectangle. Now, any change that I make here is going to be reflected on the entire vector. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the diameter of the bit to all four sides. So what I'm going to do, because my anchor point is the center, I'm going to double the diameter of the bit. In this case, it's a 1/4 inch bit. Double that, we've got a 1/2 inch. I'm going to add a 1/2 inch to both of the dimensions. So we'll go 0.5 and 0.5. Then click apply. Now, that vector is a 1/4 inch larger here, and also at the top and bottom. So I can close that. Oops, I added another vector. Didn't mean to do that. Now I'm going to put this one into move and transform mode. Click it again. And I'm just going to drag it out to where it's about the same as the larger vector. And I can drag this one in, snap it to that vector. And there we go. Whoops. No, I didn't move it. I did enlarge it. Okay. So now I've got these. I can go back and I can recalculate the tool paths. So I'll go into this one. It has selected the two vectors. Recalculate. Go into this one. This vector is selected. I can recalculate. So now, when I preview them all, I get a nice clean dado, and I get nice clean edges, and those radius corners are gone. I don't have that ridge of material anywhere. It's nice and clean. So, it could be considered a workaround, or it could just be considered standard procedure. It is considered standard procedure if you want to get rid of those radius corners, to make the vector larger than it needs to be to cut away that corner. And you make it larger by the diameter of the bit. Now, that does mean it'll cut a little bit of air out here, and it may cut a little bit of air right here, but it eliminates those corners, it eliminates the ridge, and it eliminates the need for hand tool work after the fact. Now, Bruce Malmstrom is asking, could you just use offset to the outside? Yes, you could. You certainly could just offset it to the outside. As my friend Michael Mazalik likes to say, there are 3 answers to any question. This is what my English teacher would call foreshadowing. But yes, there's 3 answers to every question. So It could be anything from the radius of the bit to how the toolpath is calculated based on the center line of that bit or the center point of that bit. Michael Mazalik says, I have been told that there is one ghost pixel around the edge of the work size, and if the vector is directly on the vectors, the bit will move inwards to cut the next pixel. I've never heard that, but that might dovetail in with how the cut is calculated based on the center of the bit. So that does make sense. That does make a little bit of sense, and that might be just a better explanation of, well, it's based on the center of the bit. Well, thank you for narrowing that down. Or it could be the tolerances number in preferences, that ridge perhaps being 0.006, for example. And that could be as well. That very well could be. And that's my question as well. Why would it do it on one side, not the other? No clue. Exactly. Does that explain why the ridge on one side and not the other? You know, I mean, you're a devious man, Michael. Let's see here. There was another quote here. There we go. Have you tried isolating smart geometries? Does it do it with them all? Or might one of them in particular work better? Or is it a combo of them being on that does this? Isolating smart geometries, what I'm guessing is, what you mean by that is, for instance, making separate pockets here and up here, or, and then, separate pockets here. Yeah, that could be done as well. But again, there's no guarantee that it's going to cut the whole thing. And then you're dealing with two tool paths rather than one. Yes, you can combine them. And yes, you can merge them even. But I guess what was bothering me was the why. Not so much the what I can do to get rid of it. Because this is what I can do to get rid of it. Yes, I could offset that one outwards. If I want to keep that vector for some reason, maybe that vector needs to be a profile cutout to make sure this piece is perfectly rectangular. So there is a valid reason for keeping that vector right on the edge of the material. So if I do need it, then offsetting it and not deleting the original is a good option. But if I don't need it, then just resizing this vector is another option. So it's, again, it's one of those little things that, let's see here. Jim Brown says, will that ghost vector be there on the data was also? I'm assuming, or I'm going to have to assume, simply because I don't have an answer for that if there is a ghost vector outside of the vector here, it would be the same for this vector. So, okay, Michael says, no, just the edge of the material setup. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's strange. Like if the bit geometry is 12 pixels, but the size is measured to be 11 pixels. I get that. You also have, well, but that wouldn't show up in the preview. That would just be outside on the machine. The point is, in all of this, that I really don't have a definitive answer. There are lots of good variables. Each one of them could contribute just enough to where that's the end result. But to me, it doesn't explain why it only happens in certain positions. Like in this example, that ridge was along the left side and the bottom, but not the right side and the top. So this would mean that the bit geometry is saved in a lower resolution than it should be. The only problem with that theory that I can find, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, the only problem with that theory is that wouldn't explain why it's only happening on 2 of the 4 edges. If the bit geometry is saved at a lower resolution than it should be, that ridge should be on all 4 sides. So, you know, and you may be 100% correct, but that doesn't explain why it's only 2 sides. Does this mean that if that's an inside dado, one side will be undersized? It could very well be. It could very well be. So, dados are, I won't say they're a separate science, but dados can be difficult to get. Aha, here we go. Michael, I think you've got something here. The software reads from left to right, bottom to top. So those are the first edges to be calculated. It's all falling into place. So if there is a ghost pixel, oops, I'm pointing at the wrong screen. So if there's a ghost pixel, let's say down here on this corner, it's going to move that in, that edge in 1 pixel to the inside. Interesting. Interesting. I'm going to have to play with that. Very interesting. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Man. Yes, the ghost pixel will always be only on the same 2 sides. Now, you know, Michael, that's a brilliant, that's some brilliant insight and something that I had never considered. Now, I knew that the software, when you're creating a 3D model or a composite model in VCarve, when you've got 3 or 4 different components, I knew that it modeled from the bottom up. But I did not know it calculates the toolpath starting at the bottom left corner. Says in older versions of the software, you could see the ghost pixel. Interesting. I don't know if I ever noticed that. I started with the trial version of VCarve Pro 7.5, learned a little bit, and bought VCarve Pro 8.0. And I don't remember seeing it, but I didn't know to look for it, you know. 8 Center says, run the pocket starting at a corner, copy, paste, rotate it starting in the opposite corner, run both toolpaths. Well, that might take care of it, but look at everything you just said. Rather than just either offsetting another rectangle larger and using that for the border, we've complicated the issue. Now, if that works for you, great. If that works for you, fantastic. Oh, okay. Michael says version 4. Oh, that was, I don't mean to date anybody, but that was before my time. Like I said, I started with 7.5. So, okay. Butch Miller said it before, but these brainstorming sessions with the collective brain trust is why I continue to show up. Between you and me, Butch, same here. I make no claim to be an expert in any of this. I just know what works for me. Okay. I learn every day, and I know that the learning will never stop. That's one of the reasons I continue to show up. This is fun to me. Yeah, I know I need to get a life. I got one. I keep it in the closet, take it out on weekends, polish it up, and just to maintain it. But, wow. 8 Center says, yes, but if it's a ghost pixel, it will not fix it. It needs tested. Well, yeah, if you have the time to dedicate to it, you're right. It does need to be tested. And maybe this is something that needs to be brought up to the folks at Vectric. They're obviously aware of it. If it was visible in earlier versions, but now it's not visible, that tells me that they said it was easier to make it invisible than it is to fix it. I don't know. You know, I'm shooting in the dark here. I might have to have a conversation with Nav or one of the developers and find out, because I think Michael's onto something. Man. Okay. Yeah. Time to hop in the mystery machine and check this out. Okay. Well, I mean, that got a lot deeper than I thought it was going to get. But again, I love this kind of thing. And like I said, I make no claim to be an expert on anything. So folks ask a question, I don't know, is a legitimate answer. So, man, you guys are brilliant. Okay. Let's see. I don't have any other questions. So, John Thompson asks, what if you move the start point? I have the start point. Let me bring this back up. Ba-boom. The start point, going to the 2D view here. And let's go, let's go into node editing. I tap the letter N on my keyboard, and that is the start point. Okay, let's make this the start point. There we go, bonk. All right, now I'll come out of node editing, and we'll recalculate that toolpath, and reset the preview, and let's run it. John, you are, nope. Oh, nope. Let me reset the preview, close the preview, and now go back over to the design tab here. Select this one and get rid of that 1/2 inch. All right, apply, close, shoot over here, and we'll back into that pocket. We'll recalculate it, and we'll see if moving the start point up to here changes it. Boom, 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 boom. No, moving the start point does not change it. So, all right. So, no. Start points don't matter with pockets. Okay, I see that now. All right. Michael says, I would bet Vectric knows nothing about it. Well, then, I have one answer to that, and that is, let's tell them. Let's think about that for a second. We can't be the first people to ask that. we can't be the first people to notice that, ask that. Then again, maybe we are. Maybe folks have just accepted that, well, you make the vector larger than it needs to be so that it carves it out. Well, exactly. So, I know I have a limited audience. I know I have a limited crowd, but right now there are 64 people watching this. If, say, 10% of us, that would be 6.4. And as far as the 0.4, you know who you are. Let's shoot Vectric support and ask them about this. Why does this do that? We know the workaround. We know how to get rid of it. But why does it leave this edge? I'll bring up the ghost pixel thing. But let's find out why. I want to get a definitive answer. So, if, I'm not going to put out a call to action or anything like that. Let's, yeah. Thanks. Marine, you're 0.4? No. I just figured, Butch, I figured if somebody was 0.4, they would know who they are. I'm not saying anybody is. But if 6 of us, or 7, or 8, or 10, email Vectric support and ask them about this, they're going to look into it. So who among us will report back? I will. I mean, if they get back to me about it, I will. I mean, I'm here every week, whether I need to be or not. Let's see. 8th Center says, well, I just tried testing it and my V-carve is broken, not even showing me the work area for some reason. Uh-oh. Time to dig into that and figure out what's going on. Us crayon eaters get a bad rap. Well, no, not necessarily. You stepped up. So that's bonus points in my book. Ralph says, since the XY is on the center, could it be that the centers of the rectangles are not the same? Let's check that out. Reset preview. We'll close the preview, jump back over to the design tab in the 2D view. Zoom in, and I'm going to do it separately. So I've got this rectangle, and I'm going to align it to the material vertically and horizontally, so it's in the center. Then I'll do the same thing here. And that's a point to bring up. I did these separately because if I selected them both together, what it would do is it would set up a bounding box around both of them and then move these in relation to that bounding box. It would not make sure that each vector individually was in the center. So now that I have them both in the center, let's go back over and we'll recalculate that toolpath. Calculate, and we'll preview it. And no change. No change. 8 Center says, my bet is on the resolution dimensions of the saved bit geometry part not being kept up with the resolution changes over the years. I really honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. So, Michael says, change the XY to the bottom left. Okay, we'll do that. And we'll reset the preview. Close this. I'm going to go over here to material setup, and I'm going to change XY to the bottom left corner. Click OK, and now it says all the toolpaths must be recalculated. Yes. All toolpaths were successfully recalculated. Uncheck those. Let's go back into preview. Pocket. Let's check. Same thing. No change. Now, just to make sure, reset preview, close. I'll jump back over into job setup. And our XY datum positions in the bottom left corner. Okay. And jump over here, and I will recalculate this. And we'll preview. And no change. So, I'm going to investigate that goat pixel thing. Goat pixel? It's been a long week. Ghost pixel. All right. Uh-oh. Yeah. So, that's it. I have no answer. I have no... You got me. So, I'm going to shoot a letter to Vectric support, an email to Vectric support, and ask them about it, including some screenshots. And I will mention the theories that I have heard, all three of them, and see what they have to say. Maybe this is something they can fix. Maybe it isn't, and we just have to deal with the workaround. But as Michael said in version 4 and earlier, that pixel was visible. Why is it not visible now? And why is it there to begin with? So, I don't know. I really don't know. But it's an interesting topic to investigate. So, looks like we're into vegetarian talk out in the chat. You could very well be right, because that is a variable that could be explored. Interesting. Okay, does anybody have any other questions? As I said, this was just one of those topics that I thought it warranted exploring, just to see, number one, for my own curiosity, number two, to mine the brain trust out here for more input, because you folks have come at this from different angles than I would consider. And that's what makes it work. You know, if your brain is in machining mode and you're dealing with smaller tolerances, you're going to come at this from another angle than I would consider. And that's one of the real benefits of doing things like this. So that's also one of the selfless promotion here. That's also one of the benefits I love so much about the members only group. My channel members, they come at this from all different walks of life, from all different experiences, and the brain trust that is there, the different perspectives, the different experiences, and the different knowledge bases. I mean, we have white collar and blue collar all together. We have various regions, various experiences, various experience levels. And each one of them brings a bit of knowledge to add to the encyclopedia. And that's one of the reasons it is so valuable to me, because the wealth of knowledge that is shared just can't be beat. Let's see here. We got a couple of questions here. Can I do a molding toolpath on a curved surface? Ooh, are you talking about like say in a dish or or on a dome? A molding toolpath on a curved surface. Let's take a look at the molding toolpath here real quick. Can it be applied to a 3D model? It doesn't look like it can. That's a good one. I'm going to have to... I don't know if, Michael, if you know the answer to this question. Can a molding toolpath be done on a curved surface? I don't think you can make it follow that curve, because a molding toolpath is meant to follow, meant to just create a straight, flat carve to create moldings. Okay, there's the answer. You cannot. Okay. There's the thing. No. No, you cannot. Now, you can apply a profile or a pocket to a curved surface, or even a V-carve. But I don't see a way to apply it. That's a feature request, Michael. Shoot a letter to Vectric support, make the subject feature request, and ask them if there's a way that a molding, they can add project toolpath onto 3D model. And that would give you the ability, add to scene here, whoops, spotlight it. Shut all that off, go back over here to the 2D view. That would give you the ability to take a, let's say a dome here. Let's go with a very gentle dome. And let's make it big. Hold down shift, so I'm going from the center. So I've got this gentle curve here. And in fact, I'm going to bring that down. So I'll click on this. I don't want it that high. I want it 0.25. Just a very, and hit enter. Just a very gentle dome. And I will come back over here to design. Draw a rectangle. And remember, I'm in VCarve Pro. So there's a rectangle right there. Close, go into components, select the level, right click, level clipping, apply. So now I just have that gentle dome shape right there, just a gentle dome. Now I want to create a molding toolpath, let's say for something U-shaped here. If you go over to the profile, material setup, okay, we're good. No, don't calculate. If you go to the profile, come down here, you can project that toolpath onto the 3D model. Oops. If I go, I think it's in Pocket. Is it in Pocket? Yes. Project toolpath onto 3D model. Close. If I go to VCarve, project toolpath onto 3D model. The ability to project a molding toolpath onto the 3D model, I could see where that would be a huge benefit. So, an email to Vectric support with the subject being feature request. Request the ability to apply a molding toolpath to a 3D model. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. And that's a great, great option, or would be. Michael says, I found a workaround, but it wasn't quite right. I get it. I get it. I take it you using VCarve Pro, so you don't have the ability to create a model as if you were in Aspire. That's also a problem there. But here, let's see. There was another question up here. Dusty Woodcutter says, can you show where you can select toolpath colors? I can't seem to find it all of a sudden. Okay, yeah, that is over here. Bring this back. We got to be in preview. So I've got Pocket 1 selected. We come up here into machined area color, and you'll want to select toolpath color. Then you can come right over here and click on that drop down menu and you get this. And we'll make this one blue. And we see it's turned the toolpath blue. And we got the little blue rectangle right there next to the illustration of the bit. And now I'll select this one, toolpath color, and I'll make it red. No, not pink, red. There we go. Now, it has not been machined yet. That's why it's not red. So now I'll machine this. Preview selected toolpath. Boom. Now it's red. Okay. So, reset preview. No colors appear. But that's where you change the color of a toolpath. So, all right. Mark, when I import an object or photo, it comes in as double lines. Is there a way to have it come in or convert it to single-lined object? Or is the only way to delete the items using nodes? Double lines. I'm guessing you're talking about bitmap tracing. Comes in as double lines. Okay, let me ask this about that. Are you talking about trace bitmap? Let's come over here. Go back to the design tab. You're talking about right here in the trace bitmap. It is going to trace with double lines. If you're not talking about that, let me know what the situation is and what you're talking about. I'm going to get rid of that because it's distracting. Boom. And I'll get rid of that because it's distracting. So, Brooke says, might as well ask Vectric to also add project toolpath onto 3D model for the chamfer toolpath. Okay. For the chamfer toolpath, I'm going to be honest, Brooks, I've never used it. I create all my chamfers using profiles. I just haven't had occasion to use it, but I do need to get into it. Okay, Rocco says, yes, talking about trace bitmap. All right. I don't have a bitmap to trace, but you are always going to get double lines in tracing a bitmap because the software works with closed vectors for V-carving. So let's see, can I find a bitmap? Where would I look for a bitmap to? Man, trying to think of a, well, let me do this. Let me go into here, and we'll find a bitmap to trace. Yeah, let's do this because I've already done it once. All right, that's a bitmap I'm going to trace. Okay, so it's called 40 Ford Coupe Hot Rod. We will go import bitmap. And I'm going to go to CNC stuff. And it was 40 Ford. Come on. Come on. There we are. 40 Ford Coupe Hot Rod. All right. I'm going to get rid of the other vectors here. So let's get rid of this. Delete. All right. Now, got my bitmap. I need to make it a slightly smaller. Hold down Shift and scale it down. Pro tip, do not scale up bitmaps until after you've traced them. You'll get the best resolution that way. It's okay to scale them down, but don't scale up. Okay? Rich Bratcher says, a couple of the newer softwares will allow you to choose a single line vector or a double V-carve vector. Yes, they will. And this is a valid point. This may also be a feature request. And I've said that a lot today. Vectric does listen to feature requests. That's where they get their ideas for the updates and the upgrades. They do listen to feature requests. So don't think you're screaming into the void. You're not. But also remember that the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So something that's really popular is going to get analyzed before something that's not popular at all. Okay. So back to the topic at hand here. I want to do a bitmap trace on this. Now this is pretty busy. It's got a lot of lines here. So we'll go in here to bitmap trace. Now the first thing it's going to do is ask me about color. Do I want to go with color or black and white image? This is a black and white image. So let's take a look at black and white first. Now it's going to ask me about the threshold, the number of colors. In images like this, it may appear to be black and white, even though I just said it's a black and white image. It's actually grayscale. There are 256 different shades of gray, regardless of what that book says. There are 256 different shades of gray. This will pick them all if you start going to minimum and maximum. But you see that? Now we've got it selecting too many shades of gray, and it's leaving nothing but the absolute white behind. What we want to do is we want to adjust this so that we're getting the detail we want, especially down here in the grill, and not leaving a bunch of little bitty fragments in there. There's a balance. I'm getting more and more detail. Now I've got good detail here. Can back up. I'm getting good detail up here. There are still some rough edges, but that's okay. Now, I've got my corner fit, meaning how true to these edges is this going to stick? Is this tracing going to stick? It's set at loose. My noise filter, meaning if I've got something out here that's 1 or 2 pixels, is it going to trace it or is it going to reject it? And bitmap fading, just simply how much fading am I got on the bitmap while it's doing the trace. I have the option to group the vectors. Generally speaking, I don't group them. If I know I'm going to have to come in and do a lot of editing, because if I do group them, before I can edit, now I got to ungroup, so I don't bother. Now I can preview. And that's going to show me the vectors it's going to apply. I think I can live with this. I've got a few little spots like this one here. It's just a little rectangle. This is considered noise. I can move this up, say 7 pixels, meaning anything less than 7 pixels like this is going to be rejected. Preview, and now those little spots are not there. However, did I just lose a lot of detail? Now I got to go around and look around. I think I'm okay. I'm missing some little things like this down here, but looking at the great grand scheme, is that really important? To me, no. I'm going to go ahead and apply that. Then I'm going to close it. So it's done the trace. Now I can come up here and I can turn off the bitmap layer. The minute I import a bitmap, it puts it on its own separate layer. So now I can turn off that bitmap, and there is the trace. Now, I got to look over here and see how much cleanup I need. I got some good definition here in this grill. This is a little bit funky here, but I think that that is part of the design, so I'm going to leave it alone. I got some little spots down here. I'm going to leave them alone as well, because again, it's there to give you an impression. It's not a 100% perfectly true representation, but it's good enough. Now, did it create double lines? Yes. And here's the reason why. If I hold down Control and tap the letter A, it selects all of these vectors. I come over here to VCarve toolpath, click on that. I am going to go with a flat depth of backspace, 0.1. More often than not, that is the my default. I do my VCarves 0.1 unless I have a need to go deeper. This will not force the bit to cut 0.1 deep. This is a limit. It will cut no deeper than 0.1. That's all this is. That's all a flat depth is. It will not force the carve to go 0.1 deep. It's a limit. Okay, this is using a 60-degree V-bit. This is pretty large. I'm going to go with a 90-degree V-bit. Simply because that's my go-to. Use the clearance tool, 1/8 inch end mill. I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to go with offset just because. And I'm not going to concern myself with anything down here. Calculate. Now, may contain overlaps or intersections which may lead to unexpected results. Would you like to use the vector validator? I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to continue anyway. We'll see what it looks like. This is a convenience thing because you can drive yourself nuts chasing overlaps. But if it doesn't change the overall look, if you get the overall look you want, you're fine. Preview early, preview often. If you don't like the preview, change it. You can always come back and use the vector validator. So I'm going to continue anyway, just because. And now I'm going to change the color, the toolpath color. I'm going to make it black, just so you can see it. I'm going to come up to the clearance, and I'm going to make it black, so you can see it. Now, conventional wisdom says to run your clearance pass first, then run your VCarve toolpath with the V-bit. I do that just the opposite. I always VCarve first. Always. I get a much better finish. Let me turn off the clearance. I get a much better finish if that bit is following this line in uncut material than if I were to come in and try to cut it after this has already been cleared out. I get less chip out. I get less breakage of small pieces. I always get a better result when I run the V-bit first. So that's going to be the first one I preview. Zip out here. Hello. Preview that toolpath. Looks pretty good. Now I'll do the carve, the clearance. Looks even better. Now, why did I show all that? I showed all that to show you why you get double lines. Because the software needs these double lines so that the V-carve toolpath knows where to carve. It doesn't carve this entire area. It carves the area between those vectors. That's why it gives you double lines. Now, what if we don't want double lines? What if we just want single lines? Yes, you could go through here and you could clean all this up using node editing. You could get in and you'd have to figure out what you want to do. Like this area here, if we look at the, this is what carved. If you don't want to do this, if you just want a single line, you're going to have to go in and do a lot of editing up in here where this joins. Now you do have another choice, and that is to select the vector and do a profile toolpath carving on the vector. That's one way to quote unquote V-carve open vectors, and it does work, but you're also not going to get square corners. Square inside corners, excuse me. Simply because on a V-carve toolpath, the bit as it finishes, say this area here and goes to make a corner, the bit's going to lift up and come up out of the material and square off that corner. Whereas if you do a profile, it's not. It's just going to follow that vector and stop, then move off in another direction. It's not going to square off that inside corner. So that's why it does double vectors. Having said that, and I get it, there are cases where you want a single line. And this is where a feature request would comes in. We're going to call, I think I'm going to add to the title of this live stream and call it the feature request episode. There is legitimate reason, especially if you use laser and you want to laser this instead of V-carve it. And let's say, for example, you want to laser it onto a curved surface. There is a legitimate reason to need single lines. I think adding up here, type of tracing to use, center line should be an option so that it follows the center line. Let's say, let me close this here real quick. Let me turn on the bitmap and make that the active layer, and then turn off the tracing. Instead of it drawing a vector to the outside of this area here and another one to the inside of this, having the option to have it select a center line of the drawn line here, I think that would be a good option. So, once again, feature request. Here's a caveat to that. That would work well for areas like this where you have thin lines, this body sculpture line here, or the outside perimeter here. But what about when you get into big areas like this? Where's the center? Are you putting the center here in this? Or where are you? What determines where that center should be? So, okay, Rich Bratcher is asking, Mark, you want to try running the image through Easy Create or VistaSculpt and show it as a 2D vector? Not just yet, Rich. I'm ashamed to say I have not yet tried Easy Create. I really am ashamed to say that. And it's simply because it has fallen through the cracks. I have so much going on. I haven't had, and it's legit, I haven't had the time. I need to do it. And thank you for reminding me. And I'm going to write myself a note right now to get in, buy some credits, and play with it. So, just wrote myself a note to get in there, get some credits, and play with it. Is that for another day? As it sits right now, yes. But is that in Easy Create? Is that already in Easy Create? Because if it is, that tells me that Vectric knows there's a need for it. If it's not in Easy Create yet, feature request. Oz Guzzi says, Easy Create is cool. I've seen some brilliant work come out of it. My problem is I'm pulling in several different directions at the same time. Okay, Rich says that it is part of Easy Create. Okay, so that tells me they know. So, Butch says we need to buy Mark a watch that runs slow to give him more time. What would be more effective, Butch, would be a calendar with a day between Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, I need an 8-day week and a 25-hour day. That's all there is to it. You know, I keep telling Linda, I need to go out and get a job so I can get some rest. This whole retirement thing, that's the hardest work I've ever done. So, I hope that answered your question on why you're getting double lines versus why you're not getting a single line. And that is because the bitmap tracing here is made to work by tracing the outlines of whatever color you select. Okay? Rich says, hey, you're retired. Yeah, and that's why I'm so busy. I was never this busy when I had a job. And I still don't know how the heck I did everything I did and have a 40-hour-a-week job. I don't know how I did it. So, I'll get into Easy Create. I will get into Easy Create, and I will find out how well that works, especially on something like this that has such large black areas. Where is it going to draw the center line? So, you know. No prompting from the studio audience, please. Inside joke. Yeah, I like to think I'm retired, but no. Let's see. It is technically a quantum possibility. If you can force brain entrainment into the lambda brainwave state, it creates a sort of time dilation effect. That's a lot to unpack, and it's above my pay grade. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it up on that happy note. I mentioned foreshadowing earlier. And I don't know if I'm stepping out of turn or not, because I don't know if you've gone completely public with this yet, Michael. But Michael Mazalik has got a project going. If you are, number one, let me say right off the bat, there is a permanent link to Michael Mazalik's YouTube channel in all of these live streams, down in the description. Just scroll down a little bit, and you'll find a link to Michael Mazalik's YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed, number one, shame on you. Number two, do so. Get over there and subscribe. Okay? Michael has been posting here lately on his YouTube channel a series that I think is brilliant. And it's one of those, Michael, I wish I'd have thought of it first. It is brilliant. Michael is going through and he is showing error messages, the common error messages that you might get when you go to calculate something or you go to do something and that error message pops up. It's like, what are you talking about here? What's going on? Michael's letting you know what's going on. He's explaining those error messages to you. They're short, to the point, very concise, very eloquent. It's explaining what the error message means. And again, Michael, I wish I'd have thought of it first. Brilliant. But Michael has also started a venture called 3 Answers. Again, foreshadowing. I've been mentioning 3 Answers for a while now because it's true. Now, that doesn't mean every question has 3 answers. That doesn't mean every question is limited to 3 answers. But it means there are usually 3 answers to every question. When it comes to the design software, there are 3 ways of doing just about everything. Michael's going through that. Now, he's started a venture called 3answers.info. And that website is going to be permanently linked in the description in future videos. I'm going to put it in the description of this live stream, and I'm also going to put it in a pinned comment at the top of the comment section, so that if you're watching this on replay, look at the comments, you will see that link to 3answers.info as the top comment. Get over and check it out. Michael invites you to explore. Yes, he tells you, but he also invites you to engage, invites you to explore the possibilities, because there is more than one answer to most questions, and you have options. Those options, some may not work for you, some may work better than others, but the vision is yours, and you know the final result that you want. And if one option works best for you, then that's the best way for you. If another option works better than what you've been doing in the past, explore it. Explore it. You are the final judge. You know what you like. You know what's acceptable. You know your workflow. If you're the kind that likes to use keyboard shortcuts, use keyboard shortcuts. If you're the kind that likes to go up into menus and use menus, use menus. If you're the kind that uses icons in a design tab or the component tree, use those icons. You know your workflow. There's more than one answer. The first answer is to go on over to 3answers.info, check it out, explore, and hopefully learn. Michael, thank you for everything you do behind the scenes. Thank you for all the support you've given me over the years. I call you my 3D guru because you are, whether you know it or not. Yeah. Check him out. Again, it's going to be permanently linked. And I will also add the YouTube video explaining the new site. I'll also add that to the pinned comment. And it will be permanently linked. Again, thank you for everything you've done for me, Michael. Both face-to-face, well, as face-to-face as cameras can get. And without even knowing it when I binge watch your videos again. Because I didn't get it the first 3 times. Okay, channel members. I mentioned it earlier. Channel membership is one of those optional things. It's a way to support the channel if you'd like. It's also a fantastic group of people. I value my channel members like family, and I absorb information like contraband. I'm here to tell you. This is some of the best folks I have ever had the fortune of, some of them meeting face to face, live in person for lunch or dinner. Some of them I've only met through the camera. And you're invited to be a part of that. We have a WhatsApp group, as I mentioned before, WhatsApp being a text-based through your phone. But also there's a desktop version that you can use on the computer, which I do. And it's a text messenger type of a thing that doesn't go through Facebook. It is not social media. It is encrypted at both ends. It is private. The only way to get membership in that group is to be a Mark Lindsay CNC channel member. I also host a weekly live stream every Monday night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. There is no time limit. It may go an hour. It may go, I think when I had Lainey Shaughnessy on. Hi, Lainey. Yeah, I think when I had Lainey Shaughnessy on, we went almost 4 hours once. But there is no time limit. It's just whenever we run out of questions, answered, comments, and concerns. We highlight, spotlight projects, machines, shops, anything folks want to share. It doesn't necessarily have to be CNC. It can be 3D printed. It can be, I've had people send me pictures of their dogs and their decks. It's a great group of folks, and you're cordially invited to join. If you look down below this video panel, you'll see the word join. Click on that, and another video will start playing that'll tell you all about channel membership. It's a fantastic group of folks. The ideas and the encouragement from this group, it has to be experienced to be believed. Again, some of the best people I've ever had the fortune of meeting. And we'd love to have you aboard. Channel members, remember to check my posts tab here on my YouTube channel for the link to tomorrow's members only live stream. Those of you who have your email set up, you should have received an email notification when I created it last night. For everybody else, what's going to happen next Sunday? That's up to you. I need your comments. I need your topics. I need your suggestions. I can sit here and tap dance for, an hour. But I need to know what you want to see. None of this has ever been about me. It's all about you. It's all about showing you that you can do this. It's all about showing you that none of this is secret. None of this is magic. If you're willing to sit down and get into the software, you can do it. It's not above your head. You can do this. But I need to know what topics you want to see. So please Leave me a comment. Leave me a suggestion. I read every comment. I don't always get to reply to every comment, but I read every comment that comes in. So let me know what you want to see. For now, thank you very much for spending part of your Sunday with me. You folks back east, bundle up. Warmer weather is coming. This too shall pass. We're all in this together. Call a buddy. Call a friend. Check up on folks. Make sure you're all doing okay. You know, we got to stick together because we're all in this together. So, enough of that. Let me just say once again, thank you to everybody. And y'all take care. Have a great